Welcome to those of you who've just joined us. My name is Juniper. I'm the managing producer for Feldenkrais Access, and I'm so happy to be here with you all for the first lesson of Restoring Lightness with Raz Ori. We are also joined today by Anastasi Siotis, who is a Feldenkrais trainer candidate. Anastasi is joining us from Manhattan, New York today. I'm in Woolwich, Maine, by the way. And Anastasia is here to assist if you have any questions or confusion during the lesson. If you're joining us on Zoom, you can reach Anastasia through the chat section, chat function of the Zoom menu. And you can send him a message privately or just write to everyone. And if you're joining us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, you can send in a message on whichever platform you're on into the comments section, and we'll respond as soon as possible. We're also joined today by Nadia Genois, who is a Feldenkrais practitioner joining us from Montreal. Nadia will be doing the lesson in a chair, and if you need to do the lesson in a seated position for whatever reason, you can see how Nadia is engaging with the instructions. I'll be showing her throughout the course of the lesson today in order to provide a visual guide for anyone who's adapting the instructions to a seated position. So please feel free to let me know if you need to see her more often. And I will be also showing our team of Feldenkrais practitioners who are doing the lesson as instructed along with you. And they'll provide a general visual guide for the lesson. If you're in Zoom and you have your camera turned on, it's very helpful for both Raz and Anastasi to be able to see you, especially if you have a question for Anastasi, and especially for Raz, who's teaching the lesson. So if you can position yourself in such a way within the frame of your camera that your whole self is in view, that's super helpful. And if you don't wish to be seen, then if you just press your stop video option in the Zoom menu, then that allows Raz and Anastasi to see the people who do have their camera turned on. And that's it from me. I'll hand you over to Raz.
Hello, and welcome. Welcome to our first class in Restoring Lightness. I am Raz Ori, and I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner and trainer from Tel Aviv, Israel. And in this course, I will focus on helping you restore your ability to move with ease and efficiency and to find comfort and pleasure in your own movements. So let's talk for a moment about what happens when we don't feel lightness and ease in our body. What happens when we feel stiff, sore, heavy, tired on a regular basis? Well, we become habituated to pushing ourselves to overcome that stiffness, to muscle through our own heaviness and lack of flexibility. The problem then becomes that it becomes normal for us to treat our own body as if it were an obstacle, so that in order for us to be able to move around, struggling becomes the norm. But we all have a hidden secret, which is that we all have a built-in ability to restore the comfort and ease in our movements. In fact, movements that are done effortlessly nourishes our brains and they uplift our mood, they increase our motivation, they calm our thoughts, and they regulate our emotions. All we need to do is to rediscover what it feels like to move with lightness and ease, and to remind ourselves and our brain of the wonder of effortless movement, and to make that invigorating sensation spread throughout the entirety of ourselves, and to be able to then carry that sensation with us into daily life, into daily activity. So that is the project of this course. In these 6 lessons, I will help you to feel more agile, more flexible, less stiff, more assured in your own body, more balanced and grounded, and better aligned. So for today's lesson, this first lesson, we will be doing a movement lesson, primarily lying down on the floor. So you'll want to have a space for you to lie down. If you need a little bit of head support when you're lying on your back, you can have some head support. But before we lie down, we're actually going to start in standing. So just take a moment to organize your space, to have something for your head if you'll need it, and then please come to standing for a moment. If you can stand with your eyes closed, if not, of course, you can keep your eyes open. And just take a moment to appreciate your general sensation in standing. This idea of movement, the potential for being able to move with lightness and ease. How do you feel you're standing? Is it easy for you to stand? Do you feel lightness in your standing? Is it comfortable for you to stand? Just to have a general impression of these qualities in this simple act of standing. Good. And if you were to turn a little bit to the right, as if to look at something that is to your right, keeping your feet in one place, but you can turn your head, you can turn your shoulders, you can turn your chest, you can even turn your pelvis, whatever comes naturally, spontaneously for you. And then turn a little bit to the other side, to the left. Good. And just do it in such a way. There's no need to turn a lot or to stretch yourself or push yourself. On the contrary, you want to feel how is it to turn and how can you turn easily without pushing yourself, without overcoming any resistance, so that you again have a general impression of this movement of turning. Is it simple? Is it easy? Is there a struggle? Good. And we'll come back to it at the end of the class. So please come and lie on the floor. And again, if you need a little bit of head support behind your head, stretch out your legs, organize your arms comfortably on the floor somewhere to your sides. And just take a moment to have a general impression of your comfort lying on the floor, of your sense of ease when you're resting on your back, without changing anything, just noticing your own sensations, your legs resting on the floor, your pelvis, the degree of comfort in your lower back, throughout your spine. How are your shoulders resting on the floor? And the sensation in your neck and the back of your neck, your head resting on the floor. Good. And now bend both knees and bring both feet standing. Make sure that they're standing nicely apart from each other in a way that is comfortable for you so that each leg has its own stability. And very gently allow the weight of your knees to slowly sink to the right. Slowly, without rushing the movement. And then, of course, you bring your knees back to standing. Good. And now, why am I asking of you to do the movement slowly? So that first you can notice that there's a way to tilt the knees to the right without needing to pull or push your knees to the right, but rather just allowing the weight of your knees to sink to the right. In a way, using gravity to help you move your knees to the right, allowing gravity to move your knees to the right. But notice that a very interesting thing happens, that as your knees sink, as they descend towards the floor with the pull of gravity, the left side of your pelvis and the left side of your lower back lifts away from the floor. So that this tilting of your knees, it rolls your pelvis to the right and it gradually starts to lift parts of your back away from the floor. And then you gradually lift the weight of your knees back up to standing as your lower back goes backwards towards the floor. Excellent. So we already have one little trick of potentially helping us rediscover the sensation of ease. And that trick is trying to use gravity, trying to see if our own body weight can be something that we use in order to facilitate our own mobility. Excellent. Good. Now bring both arms forward towards the ceiling in front of you, raised in front of you towards the ceiling. And bring the palms of your hands together so one hand touches the other and interlace the fingers of your hands. And as you tilt your knees to the right, slowly start tilting your arms to the right as well, so that you're looking for a similar sensation of using your own body weight, the weight of your legs and the weight of your arms, to find a way in which you can lead your arms and knees in space towards the floor so that the entire side of your back, the entire left side of your back comes a little bit away from the floor. Mm-hmm. Good. But make sure that you only go a little bit to the right so that you're not rolling yourself onto your side. Let's say that you're turning only halfway towards lying on your right side. That's right. Good. So you're reaching like this transitional point between lying on the side, lying on the back, and flipping onto your right side. Not more than 45 degrees to the right. Good. And now make sure that you roll your head a little bit to the right with the movement of your arms and the movement of your knees, so that your head is free to roll and to follow the movement of your entire self a little bit to the right in such a way that you're not pushing your head, not pushing your arms, not pushing your knees, but just finding the easiest way in space, the easiest path for the movement to feel that, oh, your left shoulder lifts off the floor, the left side of your pelvis lifts off the floor, and then you come back. Just that simple movement. Excellent. Good. And once you're on your back again, stretch out your arms and legs and rest for a moment. Good. So then there's another trick Another trick is to find simplicity, to find a movement that is simple enough through which we can let go of any idea of needing to force our way through the movement. Okay, so let's go back to this simple movement again. Bring your knees standing again, your arms forward towards the ceiling. Your knees, allow your knees to tilt and sink a little bit to the right, and find the path for your hands to move also to the right, maybe a little bit downwards towards your knees. In which direction would you lead your hands in space to get your left shoulder to lift as easily as possible from the floor? That's right. And when your left shoulder comes off the floor, allow your head to roll a little bit to the right. Excellent. And keep doing this simple movement, but next time when you come back onto your back, keep your head turned a little bit to the right so that your head and your eyes and your face remain a little bit to the right, so that next time when you go with your knees and your arms to the right, your head is already there. Your eyes are already towards the direction of the movement. Excellent. And see if you can just rest your head in this turned a little bit to the right position so that you don't stiffen your neck or rigidify your head. You just let it rest in that little bit turned to the right position. Excellent. Good. And then come back to the middle, stretch out your arms and legs, and rest for a moment again. Good. Now bring both feet standing again. And this time you'll want to tilt your knees to the right and to keep them tilted to the right. So maybe you can really open out your right knee to lie your right leg completely out to the side. Maybe you'll need a pillow to support your right knee a little bit so that it doesn't overstrain or stretch your hip. So if you do need some support underneath your right knee, please go ahead and get a pillow to make it more comfortable for you. And keep your left knee also tilted to the right. So both knees are to the right and keep them there. Of course, you can adjust the position of your left foot to make it more comfortable for you to stay with your knees tilted to the right. Bring both arms in front of you again, your fingers interlaced, and tilt your arms to the right as well, back and forth, but always keeping your knees to the right. So your pelvis stays turned to the right. The left side of your lower back remains lifted off the floor as you bring your arms to the right and back to the center. That's right. Good. And again, find the easiest direction for your arms. Easiest in the sense that tilting your arms to the right lifts your left shoulder and it turns and rolls your chest to the right very, very easily using gravity, using your own weight so that there's no pushing need to be done, no pulling that needs to be done. Excellent. And now keep your head in the middle. Your knees are to the right, but keep your head looking forward towards the ceiling without losing this lightness of tilting your arms to the right. And without losing the lightness of lifting your left shoulder off the floor and turning your chest to the right. That's right. So how do you keep your head free and your neck free to enable your shoulders and your chest and your arms to go to the right as easily as possible. Good. Excellent. Bring your knees back to the middle and allow again just another 2, 3 times. Allow everything to tilt to the right. Your knees with your arms, rolling your head to the right. Not more than 45 degrees. Don't flip over onto your right side, although it might be tempting. Once the movement is easy and light, it could be tempting to roll all the way onto your right side. See if you can hold yourself back and keep it really simple to feel, oh, I'm not doing anything almost. I'm just somehow directing my own body weight, my intention, and there I roll a little bit to the right. Excellent. Good. Bring your arms and legs back down. Rest for a moment. And as you're resting on your back, notice if, having lifted the left side of your pelvis many times away from the floor, changed something in how you feel the contact with the floor throughout the left side of your pelvis compared to the right side of your pelvis. Lifting your left shoulder and the left side of your rib cage away from the floor many times. Has it changed something in how this area of yourself now senses the contact with the floor, how you sense the contact of the floor behind your left shoulder compared to the right? Excellent. Bring your knees standing again, your feet standing on the floor. And very simply start tilting your knees to the left. Very simply. Even though you know what we're doing, you know what we're going to do, keep it simple. The way that your pelvis turns to the left might be a little different than to the right. The way that your spine is organized might be a little bit different. So really give yourself the time to appreciate the dynamics of the movement and the different sensations of this supposedly simple movement, but it already mobilizes and moves so many parts of you. There's so many changes that need to occur in your hip joints and throughout your spine just from this simple tilting of your knees. Excellent. And see if you can appreciate this ease of lifting away from the floor that happens throughout the right side of your pelvis, lower back, and maybe even further up your back towards your ribs and your chest. That it's simple, light, no pushing or pulling. That's right, just using your own body weight. Excellent. Now bring both arms forward in front of you, fingers interlaced, and see if you can look for a similar sensation with the weight of your arms. It's not exactly the same. Our arms are not our legs, but as you tilt your knees to the left, see if you can direct the weight of your arms also to the left, finding how to use the weight of your arms to lift your right shoulder easily off the floor. That's right. It might mean that you need to direct your hands a little bit downwards towards your left knee, or maybe a little bit more forward towards the ceiling, or maybe a little bit upwards towards your head. There are different paths in space, different trajectories in space, some of which might feel much easier, much effortless than others. Good. And allow your head to be free, your neck to be free, so that your head just rolls easily on the floor to the left. That there's no need to hold your head or contract the muscles in your neck or the back of your neck, that you can just appreciate the weight of your head resting on the floor, moving in relationship to the floor. That's right. Excellent. Stretch your arms and legs back down for a moment and rest. Good. So we found another trick, which is that there's always more than one path. There's always more than one trajectory. There's always more than just one way to do the movement. And if we don't experiment, if we don't use trial and error, how would we know? Because maybe a small change in how we move, we might find a new movement pattern that is actually less straining, less efforting. So trying these variations in the movement and variations in the trajectory is another way to reignite our ability to find lightness and ease, reignite our ability to assess and find greater efficiency. Bring both feet standing again. Bring your arms again forward towards the ceiling. That's right. Tilt your knees to the left and see if you can keep your knees to the left. And again, if you need to support your left knee, you can place something underneath your left knee. If when both knees are to the left, you need to reposition your right foot so that it doesn't pull too much on your right hip, on your right lower back, feel free to adjust the position of your legs as long as keeping your knees to the left is comfortable and it gets your pelvis to stay turned to the left. So the right side of your pelvis remains lifted a little bit away from the floor. And now keep tilting your arms to the left and bringing them back to the center. And again, towards what left? Left is a whole area. Left and a little bit downwards, or left and a little bit upwards towards your head. Left and a little bit more towards the ceiling or towards the wall. Which left would make the movement of bringing your shoulder forward feel the easiest? And that using the weight of your own body coming down into the left towards the floor would be the dominant sensation so that you don't need to pull or push anything. That's right. And keep your head turned to the left a few times so your knees and head remain turned to the left, and keep doing the same movement with your arms and shoulders. Good. And notice that, of course, every time your arms move to the left, maybe something happens in your pelvis. It might help your knees to stay tilted to the left. Good. And then change one thing. Keep your head in the middle. Your knees to the left, but your head in the middle. But note, what do you do with your neck and your head to not stiffen them, but to actually allow your head to loosely rest in the middle so that it doesn't impede your ability to bring your right shoulder forward, to turn your chest. Mhm. So your head is free to turn with your chest if you wish, but it's also free to stay in the middle if you wish. So you choose. You have the freedom to choose. Excellent. Bring your knees back to the center. Rest for a moment. Stretch out your arms and legs and rest. Bring both feet standing again, your arms forward towards the ceiling, and allow everything to tilt a little bit to the left. Your knees tilting a little bit to the left, your arms to the left, your head turning to the left, everything together. That's right. So simple that you will not be able to feel any effort in the body. So simple that the sensation of moving with your own weight would become dominant. That it's the sinking to the left that lifts the right side of your pelvis and the right shoulder that becomes dominant. Excellent. Good. And stretch everything back down and rest for a moment. Excellent. But eventually, we would want this lightness and ease to be something that we can carry with us outside of the lesson. And when we want to carry it with us outside of the lesson, we need to carry ourselves, meaning that somehow we're going to need to work against gravity, somehow with, but also against, because outside of the lesson, we're not going to be lying on the floor. We're going to be up on our 2 feet and walking around. So bring both feet standing again. This time, tilt only your right knee to the right. And again, you can support it with a little pillow if you need. And bring your arms forward in front of you. Interlace the fingers of your hands. And this time, when you tilt your arms to the right, keep your left leg standing, so your left knee stays forward towards the ceiling. But you want to use your left leg to facilitate and assist the turning of your pelvis even further to the right. And you can do that by lightly pushing into the floor, so that every time you want to turn more to the right, tilting your arms to the right, rolling your head to the right, push a little bit into the floor with your left standing leg. Excellent. But notice an interesting thing. Is there a way to push in which you hardly feel any pushing? You know you're pushing, you understand that you're pushing, but it's so well coordinated with the weight of your arms, with the turning of your head, with the weight of your knee, that this pushing into the floor, pushing your pelvis a little bit to the right, would feel very light, very easy, very non-pushy. So you're pushing into the floor, but you're not pushing yourself to do something that is not easy. You're pushing into the floor to find greater ease in your pelvis, in the tilting of your arms. That's right. And keep doing it, but keep your head in the middle again. So your head doesn't turn with your arms and your shoulders, but it doesn't become rigid either. So for your chest to turn to the right and your head to stay in the middle, you need ease and lightness in your neck, in the muscles at the front of your neck, back of your neck, base of your skull, to allow your head to remain in the middle without any strain, without fixating your head, without any effort in the muscles that mobilize your head or control the movements of your head. That's right. Excellent. And now allow your head to turn to the right with the turning of your shoulders, with the turning of your chest, with the tilting of your arms. And feel again, it's a different movement, but something of the quality of not straining the muscles, of keeping your head free is the same whether you turn your head to the right and whether your head stays in the middle. Excellent. Bring your arms down, stretch out your legs, and rest for a moment. So now we're on to another essential component of how do we restore lightness and ease? Well, the freedom of our head and neck. If the movement of our head is rigidified and lacking the flexibility of either moving with or resting, it's going to affect our entire sensation of being able to move in space. Bring both feet standing again. Open your left knee out to the left, to the side. You can place a pillow underneath your left knee if needed. Bring both arms forward in front of you. The right leg stays standing with the knee towards the ceiling. And as you tilt your arms to the left, assist yourself with pushing with your right leg a little bit into the floor. But finding that same quality of rolling easily to the left so that there's a way to push in which it's not pushy. Almost like the pressure that you're creating into the floor is flowing upwards through your body, almost like a wave. Whereas pushing something would encounter resistance. But here, by using the weight of your arms, rolling your head, understanding the direction, when you push with your leg, it creates this wave-like movement into your hip, into your pelvis, into your trunk that translates into this easy flow of rolling to the left and does not encounter resistance. And if you do encounter resistance, then you ask yourself, oh, is there another way? What can I change? What can I try to do differently to circumvent, to bypass that resistance? Mhm. And you need to believe that there is another way to make you try. Otherwise, you won't try. If you think that the only way is by pushing through resistance, you're not going to try something else. You're not going to look for an alternative. Excellent. Good. Bring your arms and legs back down and rest for a moment. And this time, bring only your left foot to stand on the floor, only your left leg standing. That's right. And slowly push again with your left leg to turn your pelvis a little bit to the right. But if there's resistance, you pause and you go back. If you feel like you really need to push, you pause and you go back. And to make this pushing of your pelvis, to turn your pelvis to the right easier, every time you try to roll your pelvis to the right, bend your right knee upwards on the floor, as if to bring it back to that lying on the side position. So every time you want to turn your pelvis to the right, you're also using the weight of your right leg by folding your right knee out into the right, keeping your right knee very close to the floor. That's right. Good. So then you're almost doing like a combination of pulling the right leg, folding the right leg, using the weight of the right leg, and also pushing a little bit with your left foot. And if you pull too quickly with your right knee, maybe that's not going to work. If you push too quickly with your left leg, maybe that's not going to work either. So you try to feel, how do you organize it? What is the variation, the combination between folding and sliding the right leg, not too far up, not too quickly, pushing with your left foot, not too fast, not too strongly, to feel that, oh, your pelvis again turns very easily to the right. Excellent. And now bring both arms forward in front of you with your fingers interlaced and tilt your arms to the right as you fold your right knee, as you lead the pelvis or make this wave-like motion from the foot up into your hip to roll the pelvis to the right, and then you come back. Excellent. So no one part of yourself has the exclusive control over the movement. The whole thing is not led by or initiated from one part, but rather it emerges from this coordination. And it mostly emerges from your curiosity to reduce any effort and to make the quality of the movement even nicer for you, even simpler. That's right. And you can choose to roll your head to the right and come back. You can choose to keep your head turned to the right a few times. So you have this freedom in your head and your neck to actually stay with your gaze, with your orientation, the orientation of your face, a little bit to the right. That's right. You can even choose to have your head in the middle, as if you're leading yourself to the right, but there's still something in front of you that you want to see before you turn your head to the right. You know you're going to the right, but I'm still keeping my eye here on something in front of me. Excellent. Good. Stretch out your arms and legs and rest for a moment. Excellent. So another little trick, whenever we feel stiffness in one area of the body, whenever we feel stuck in one area of the body, we need to resort to the other parts of ourselves. We need to look for, how can I use other parts of myself to alleviate this stiffness, to help myself with the stiffness or the discomfort? Because just as we saw now, the quality of ease is not dependent on one part of the body, but rather on the coordination of the entire system. Bring your right foot standing again. Bring your arms forward in front of you. Interlace your fingers and slowly search for this easiest way to roll a little bit to the left, in which you want to use the weight of your arms and the easiest path for your hands in space that would lift your shoulder. You want to use your right leg to generate this wave-like movement transmission from the floor into your skeleton, into your trunk. You want to facilitate yourself and even enjoy the fact that you can slide your left leg a little bit out and to the side on the floor. If folding your leg is uncomfortable, maybe just rolling your leg to the left, just allowing it to open to the left. That's right. And what about your head and your eyes? That your head also has weight to it, and it has all these sensory systems that orient you in space, that help you to coordinate the movement. That's right. And we're so sophisticatedly organized and built that you can even keep your eyes and your gaze forward and not roll your head, but still have all of this lightness and ease and effortless quality of turning and rolling a little bit to the left. That the quality is not dependent on one particular head position. That there's the flexibility to have the head in the middle or have your head to the left or roll your head back and forth. Excellent. Great. Stretch out everything again and rest for a moment. Good. Bend both knees again, bring both feet standing again. And this time, instead of having your arms forward towards the ceiling, hug your shoulders with your hands so that each arm crosses your chest and your right hand grabs a hold of the side of your left shoulder and your left hand grabs a hold of the side of your right shoulder. That's right. And in this situation, tilt your knees again a little bit to the right, back and forth, using the weight of your knees as we did in the beginning, feeling the turning of your pelvis, the ease of lifting the left side of your back. And see if you can, as if with your right hand, lead your left shoulder to come a little bit forward, to lift again a little bit away from the floor. It's a little bit different than what we did up till now with the arms in front. You don't have this long lever. Your arms are not acting like this long handle that can assist you in lifting the shoulders. But still, you're using your arms connected to your chest. That's right. And think of the fingertips of your left hand. The fingertips of your left hand are moving towards the floor to your right. So stretch out your fingers of your left hand as if you're going to slide your fingers on the floor a little bit to your right, as if you're going to caress the mat a little bit to the right. That's right. Just a little bit, in a very lazy sort of way. Good. Excellent. And keep your knees tilted to the right again. Stay with your knees tilted to the right and just continue the movement of lifting and lowering your left shoulder. Of course, it's not just your left shoulder. It's lifting and lowering your left shoulder by turning your chest, your whole shoulder girdle, by turning your whole trunk a little bit to the right and to the left. or a little bit to the right and back to the middle, I should say. That's right. And you can have your left hand, the fingers of your left hand slide back and forth. Good. And now do a smaller movement so that the range of the turning to the right and back to the middle is even smaller, even more modest. And see if this smaller movement, if you can do it a little bit faster. So that in a way, almost like you rock yourself a little bit to the right and back to the middle. It's not just the shoulder, of course, but your knees stay to the right, your pelvis stays turned to the right, and you're bringing your left shoulder a little bit forward and back, but in a small, soft, rocky movement, almost like rocking the cradle of a baby. That's right. Excellent. Rocking and rolling softly and easily. Good. And stretch out your arms and legs. Rest on your back for a moment. Mhm. Excellent. So once we find this quality of ease, we want to use it and we want to expand it and generalize it for being able to move with more and more variations. Slow is good, but then also, how do we keep that quality of ease when we do faster movements? Good. Bring both feet standing again. This time, open your right knee out to the side. Your left leg stays standing. Hug yourself with your arms once more. And when you lift your left shoulder, turning yourself a little bit to the right, use your left leg again to assist you in lifting the left side of your pelvis and hip. Excellent. And then come back. Good. So again, if you're going to push with your left leg and there's resistance, you're not going to be able to rock and roll. So you need to find a way in which you use your leg to create more of this wave-like quality that, yes, you are pushing a little bit into the floor, but the push, the force of pushing into the floor is immediately transmitted to mobilize your pelvis to the right. That's right. And then see if you can increase the pace once more with your shoulder and with your pelvis so that you rock to the right and back to the middle just a little bit, your shoulders and your pelvis, your upper back and your lower back. That's right. And even your head, allow your head to roll to the right and back to the middle, even that's right. Allow your head to roll in these small right and left rocking movements. Excellent. So your leg pushes and releases, pushes and releases, pushes and releases in a very gentle way so that your pelvis rocks to the right and to the middle. Good. And now keep doing it, but just keep your head in the middle, so that your head and your eyes are not disturbed by the rocking, as if you could look forward towards the ceiling and your vision is stable. Your head is stable. But for you to be able to rock yourself to the right and back with your head staying quietly in the middle, your neck needs to be soft. It's a softening of your neck and not a rigidifying of the position of your head. That's right. Excellent. Stretch out your arms and legs and rest again for a moment. So in a way, this already reminds us a little bit of the dynamics and the speed that might happen during walking. So we're already trying to prime ourselves to be able to carry with us some of these qualities for after the lesson. Bring both feet standing again. Hug yourself again with both arms. Maybe you can switch the organization of your arms. If you had one arm on top of the other, you can switch between them. And slowly tilt your knees to the left. That's right. And feel, oh, when your hip comes forward, when the side of your pelvis comes forward, when your lower back comes forward, what would be the easiest way to use that movement to also bring your shoulder forward? Without needing to feel like you need to push anything or pull anything, that you maintain this effortless attitude, this simple attitude of not pushing, not pulling, even when your arms are hugging your shoulders. That's right. Excellent. And then keep your left knee open out to the left and keep doing this movement by keeping your right knee forward towards the ceiling. So now your right leg. So did I say right knee? Sorry, right. Yeah, right knee towards the ceiling. So your right leg can push a little bit into the floor, helping you to create this wave-like motion that lifts the right hip without encountering any resistance, rolling your shoulders a little bit to the left. That's right, with the same quality as you were using when tilting your knees. Inspired by the same quality. That quality is your benchmark in a way. Good. And then once it's easy, once you find a way in which, oh yes, pushing here, turning here, lifting the shoulder, nothing to it. It's so simple, so simple. Then you can do it smaller and faster and find a way in which you just rock yourself over the left side of your chest, the ribs in the back of the left side, your left shoulder blade, the left side of your lower back, your left hip. That's right. Just small and simple. A little bit to the left, a little bit back to the middle. Small and simple. Good. And find at what point should you rock around? Where is that angle around which you can rock very easily, right and left? Excellent. Good. Stretch out your legs and arms and rest again for a moment. Bring both knees standing again. Bring your arms again towards the ceiling as we did before with your fingers interlaced. And take both knees and both arms a little to the right and back to the middle and a little bit to the left. Just a little bit, just the minimal amount that you would need to feel, oh, there, hip and shoulder off the floor. Got it. And of course, vice versa, you'll feel, oh, my body weight is now on the left side of the pelvis towards the left shoulder blade. And then vice versa, towards the right side of the pelvis, right shoulder blade. Good. And see if you can keep your head in the middle. So that you have this freedom to shift your weight and to roll, but you also have this stability of your eyes, your gaze, your head looking forward. Excellent. And then see if you can do this movement of your arms and your knees even smaller and a little bit faster. Smaller and faster. Almost like you're, I don't want to say throwing to have any association with throwing something heavy, but almost like maybe swinging, as if you're swinging your knees and your arms right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So it would rock your back to the right and to the left very gently. Good. Now hug your shoulders. Keep doing the same movement by hugging your shoulders. It might be easier to rock actually with the hugging. It might be easier. Good. And then gradually see if you can minimize the movement of your knees so that you don't need to swing your knees so much to the right and to the left. So that your knees can stay more or less standing forward towards the ceiling, but you can still rock your shoulders and your back and even your pelvis. So keeping your knees in the middle doesn't mean your pelvis doesn't move. Is there a way to keep the freedom in your pelvis to turn and rock right and left without needing to tilt your knees so much from one side to the other? Excellent. Good. Stretch everything out. Stretch out your arms and legs and rest for a moment. Good. Bring both feet standing again. Move your right arm a little bit away to the side. Move your right arm a little bit away from you on the floor, just a little bit away from your trunk. That's right. And bring your left arm forward in front of you towards the ceiling. Excellent. And now open your right knee to the right. Let your right knee be open out to the side as we did before. And slowly start turning yourself to the right, pushing a little bit with your left leg, turning your pelvis, bringing your left shoulder forward. That's right. But how? So one way is to bring your entire left arm a little bit to the right, using again the weight of your arm, elongating your arm to the right. And if you bring your right arm to shoulder height, maybe you should do that. Open your right arm on the floor to shoulder height. That's right. So that your right arm is at 90 degrees to your trunk. Good. And elongate your left arm a little bit forward and to the right. Good. And again, find this effortless ability to roll to the right. And then gradually, just as you're keeping your left knee always forward towards the ceiling, can you also keep your left hand forward towards the ceiling? Can you keep your left arm elongated forward towards the ceiling as you turn to the right? That's right. Without needing to push more, so that, of course, it's different now that your arm stays to the ceiling and your knee stays to the ceiling. But there is a way to find a coordinated orchestration that would maintain the same quality of ease and the same ability to not muscle through the movement to get your arm to elongate forward towards the ceiling. Good. And you can do that and roll your head to look at your right hand, but you can also do it as you keep your gaze forward towards your left hand, almost like you're going to touch something with your left hand and you want to see, what are you going to touch? Where is it that I'm reaching my left arm forward? Beautiful. Stretch out your arms and legs and rest for a moment. Good. Bring both feet standing again. Open your left arm out to the side at 90 degrees. Bring your right arm in front of you towards the ceiling. Open your left knee out to the side. And again, explore. How do you turn a little bit to the left, circumventing, bypassing, moving away from any resistance so that it all maintains the same continuous flow and ease? You can use the weight of your arm, tilting your arm to the left. You can use the weight of your head, turning your head to the left. That's right. But of course, we're so sophistically, we are so sophistically organized, built, that we can maintain the same ease even with our arm elongated forward towards the ceiling without tilting the arm to the left, without using the weight of the arm tilting to the left. We can maintain the same ease even without rolling the head to the left. Keeping your head forward, looking towards your hand. Now, of course, if you feel that keeping your head in the middle does create a strain, then you need to look for something else. Keep rolling your head to the left or look for a different way of how to keep your head in the middle. Feel with yourself. What do you need to tweak and play with and change to find more variations that they all maintain the same quality? That whatever variation that you do, the quality doesn't change. Excellent. Good. And stretch out your arms and legs and rest for a moment. And just take a moment to feel and sense your contact with the floor after having rolled and turned and lifted and lowered and played with gravity and your own body weight and all of these different combinations, just resting on the flat surface of the floor. How do you feel your general comfort? What is your sensation, appreciation of the support from the floor, being supported by the floor? And slowly, when you're ready, take your time and come through one side, come up to sitting, and from there, slowly come up to standing. And just take a few moments with yourself to feel yourself in standing, to feel the quality of your standing, your sensation of presence when you stand. Mhm. If it's easier, friendlier for you to check into your sensations when standing, and then you can gently try turning a tiny bit to one direction, a tiny bit to the other, not because you're looking for greater range, but just to feel if from the standing position, is there a way to start turning with zero resistance, no pushing or pulling, almost like you're floating on water, as if everything is oiled. And maybe not yet, maybe just a little bit easier to one side and not as easy to the other side. But just to be able to sense with yourself, where do you feel ease? Where do you feel resistance? Excellent. And then you can walk around the room, take a few steps, and notice, what are you carrying? What are the sensations that you're able to carry with yourself now that you're walking? And this idea of, is there a lighter way? Is there an easier path? Is there a more pleasurable, more efficient way for myself to move, to coordinate, to explore? Which is exactly what we're going to continue doing through this course. I hope you'll join us, and we will continue with another lesson next week on Thursday. Thank you.